everybody, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D. When we last left off, our intrepid little party was caught in a terrible storm, wreaking the land of Levant, where they have come to seek Quetzalcoatl's wind breastplate. The ship has been attacked by a megalodon, and Paul is currently down for the count, falling from nearly 40 feet onto hard wood. Not fun. So we will pick up from there. So Flower Fallen, Captain Red, you guys just got the notice after the ship rocked violently that a megalodon has decided that your ship, for its size, looks like a tasty seal.
Wow, seal for me?
I mean, to be fair, megalodon probably eats fucking whales.
Well, right now it's about to eat us.
Whales are now skinny.
All right. So anything from you guys, or?
Oh, the big one's here.
So we just got the notice that the megalodon showed up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we left off last time.
Flowerfall just shiver in the storm. Just no.
No. All right.
It's a big one.
All right.
It's a big one.
I'm gonna need you two to roll initiative.
Okay.
Oh, that's a 2.
Fair enough.
All right.
Alright, you know what? I'm getting rid of this. This is making me roll shit.
Yeah, put it in dice jail.
No, I mean, I was trying to roll it on like a mouse pad because to make it less quiet, less noisy, but it was making all my rolls really shit.
I'll put that in dice jail.
rolls. Yeah, it's gone. I'm throwing it across the room.
17.
All right, not bad.
Opposite ends of the spectrum.
Oh.
So, Flower and Fall as our first one's up.
Cool.
So, as the ship roars and yawns, I would say beneath your feet, but you're just kind of hovering, fighting against the wind.
I can hear it.
yeah, you can. You flutter your way towards the side of the ship as the ship is leaning violently to basically just nosedive into this maelstrom that's formed around you. You can see sort of to the southwest of your position, you could see a colossal shark fin just beelining towards your ship.
It's pretty impressive that it's able to swim in a maelstrom.
Well, it's basically following the flow, as are you guys.
Okay.
Which is just making it faster.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it breathes in water, so it doesn't really care if it gets sucked down.
Yeah. All right, so Flower and Fall, what do you want to do?
Well, okay, so how long would it take to go below deck or go to the gun deck?
You could get into the gun deck on your movement. If you dash, then you could just go anywhere in there you wanted to.
Well, yeah, I won't be able to do anything in there regardless, so I'll start heading to the gun deck.
Okay. So as you do that, you see the captain is basically gripping the wheel and starting to bark orders to the rest of the crew. Watchman, Carpenter, get below to the guns! And as you fly to get down to the gun deck, the dwarven carpenter and the unnamed individual in the plague doctor uniform follow you down, and they start pushing the guns out of the gun ports to start taking aim at the beast. So you don't want to do anything down here? Do you want to add anything, or are you good?
Okay, so I guess start not loading the ammo, but start pushing it to where it needs to be.
Okay. Just because it's a big cannon and you're tiny, make me a strength check.
Big cannon and I'm
here,
small
I'll throw you a
baton.
bone though, because there's 2 of you. You can add your strength modifier twice.
Cool.
Matthew's nice like that.
Yeah, and plus this isn't like it's more just like, can you even pull this off?
No, I got 7 in all.
So you start just, but it's a big cannon and you're tiny, so you're unfortunately not able to get it moving. But the carpenter helps you push it into position as he and the watch person grab their lighters,
Yeah.
and that's
Then
all
they
you want to
put
do.
the powder in. Blackwig taught me you got to put the powder in first.
Yeah. Basically, we're assuming for the sake of expediency, the guns were already kind of prepped, and good
Would
timing. It's
that be
actually
normal?
technically no, but I mean, do you want me to sacrifice a turn for the ship to load? I can do that.
Do whatever you want. I'm sure it'll work out.
um, Vrian, as you help the carpenter and watch person get into position, you help them light the cannons, and a broadside flies out into the maelstrom. Let's see if it gives the shark a nasty boo boo. That it does. Um,
What was that, a 20?
no, it was in total. Because I knew it hit without checking modifier, so I didn't like add up the numbers just yet. But in total, that is a 18.
Oh. The
Not
way you
bad.
said that is like, oh, it must have been a 20.
So
It's still pretty high though.
yeah. So for a series of cannonballs flies out into the abyss, and you see this just this like volcano of flesh and blood shoot out of the water as the megalodon takes 24 bludgeoning damage.
Oh,
Oof.
some damage.
Oof, ouch.
Right.
That shark.
Uh,
Realistically, at this point, the shark would just swim away and look for easier prey.
well, to be fair,
Mm.
like Baize mentioned to Paul, like food is scarce and they're panicking. um,
Yeah.
and also it's D&D. Like giant spiders will fight to the death, and they're not even really able to eat you most of the time. So don't worry about it. Shark is none too happy about this turn of events, and is Flower and Fall as you watch from the from the friggin, gun deck. Like you two are basically sitting on the barrel of one of the cannons as it gets knocked back, so that you can help them start loading it. You see just this huge splash of water, and just you basically look down the barrel of the shark's throat as it lunges
Look
at the
down the
cannons.
barrel of a shark.
Yeah.
And that's the
uh
proper terminology.
yeah.
The shark
And
is shaped like a gun, don't you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
uh and Captain Red, you on the top deck just feel this as the ship rocks violently to the side, and the shark just falls into the water and starts moving around to get back into position for another ram. The ship does not seem to have suffered structural damage, but it did spook the hell out of the crew.
Interesting.
Um, uh,
Also, realistically, it probably wouldn't have opened its mouth. It probably would just rammed it like a bull shark would have done. Just nose it.
well,
Mm.
D&D. It's your turn.
Okay, well, seeing how he has no ranged weapon to speak of whatsoever, I mean, unless they have just guns hanging around.
Not that you've seen, but you can make an investigation check and try and find some.
That was loud. No, I'm not.
So you search the deck,
It wasn't like real bad, but it wasn't like good. It was like a 10.
yeah, well, and also with the chaos going around, I imagine you're not taking the time to search like top to bottom. So you search around but can't find anything that the crew isn't already grabbing and loading. So,
Alright, well, then I guess we're gonna help with the guns then.
okay. So, Firefall, you, the carpenter, and the watch person look up as Captain Red stomps down into the gun deck to help you guys get the cannons moving.
Mm.
All right. Flower and Fall, you're up again. So do you have well, you do use guns, so I know you have proficiency in firearms. Do you have any skill or proficiency with siege weapons?
Siege weapon?
How specific?
Yeah, that is actually a thing.
Yeah.
Very
Suppose
few.
D&D is that specific, whenever it's very unspecific in just about every other field in existence.
You know, depends on the homebrew or not.
Yeah. I imagine you probably don't, right? What?
Grip.
Uh-oh.
R.I.P. Clothing. Uh, I,
I'll text her real quick.
I don't know
Well,
her birth year.
Technical difficulties.
yes. Well, it was a fun stream and all, you know.
Yeah, great session,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, good session, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Mm. Yeah. I guess since all this happened, I was like, while I was knocked out and y'all doing all the action, I was looking at reading chat and someone gave me a little follow.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I'm sorry, I totally forgot to comment on that. Yeah, thank you so much for your follow.
I mean, yeah, you do the story. I'll take care of
Yeah,
chat
yeah,
while
yeah.
I'm
I just try to
on.
keep an eye on things. Also, yeah, her internet's being a bit buggy, but luckily I actually do have a bit of buffer to work with. So, uh, Paul,
Shockingly,
uh,
Captain
what?
Red is not proficient
Oh,
with firearms.
yeah, yeah. Actually, it's because pirates in the D&D setting are expected to mostly focus on swordplay. And really, that's the thing in a lot of RPGs. Surprisingly, like pirates very seldom use firearms in fiction. Anyway,
So basically,
um,
they're just stupid.
well, what can you do? Paul, the last thing you remember is the torrent of rain clouds above you, and then everything went dark. And you find yourself back.
Oh yeah, he ate shit.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey Carly.
Yeah. I just had a quick buffer while you were gone, but I'll go ahead and continue it since I already committed to it.
yeah.
Um, uh, Paul, you find yourself back on the bridge from before. Uh, you're in the same position you were when you fell asleep last night.
So I'm awake.
Yeah, well, yeah. You're like, again, it's basically like how it was before, but you just remember falling and then now you're here.
Um. Well, I
Because you
mean,
ate shit.
I guess I'm gonna figure out what's going on, or I guess I guess I'm gonna figure out how long I've been out and all that. Like search around, see if it's still the fight's still going on.
Well, no. You're in that like
Oh,
bridge, like that bridge dream area.
oh, bridge dream. Okay, I was like,
Yeah, he
what?
was in that dream. Oh yeah, he was in like a psychedelic dream.
Hmm. Well, I guess I'm gonna explore
Okay.
where I'm at.
You want to go the same route you did before, or
Uh, yeah, sure.
okay? So you walk for a little while, and while it's not familiar, you've at least you've calmed enough to know that this area doesn't seem to mean you any harm. And sure enough, you walk for a little while and find the silhouetted shape of the Baizé looking out over the horizon.
What's a Baizai again?
It's this feline slash bovine creature with horns running down its sides and multiple eyes on its face. Uh,
It sounds like something someone would make in Spore.
Well,
Funny enough, I think you said the exact same thing the first time it was introduced. Um,
but yeah. I
yeah,
guess I approach him.
Did I?
yeah,
I'll have to look at the old video.
yeah. I think you did anyway. Anyway, so you approach, and the Baizé turns and nods as you sit next to it once more, and you both look down, and the fog parts slightly, and you basically see almost like this, like ship in a bottle kind of effect. Seeing the breaker caught in this whirlpool with a shark just ramming into the side as cannons pelt it. And as you guys kind of observe this scene from on high, the Baize speaks up with its like metallic, clinky voice. Quite a fall you took.
It's like it's like Pirates of the Caribbean 4 with the ship in the bottle.
I don't remember that movie.
Yeah.
But
And that's all that can be said about it. I'm kidding.
Everybody forgets it exists.
Anyway, so continue. Sorry.
But yeah. I guess I'm gonna like do the little rub my the back of my neck. Like, yeah, wasn't desirable, but here I am.
The Baize nods. Here you are. And you two sit in silence for a bit as you observe before they say, in the, with how fraught the situation is, my powers are waning under the stress I am under. I'm afraid I will not be able to do you such favors until the situation improves. But, and the Baize turns to look at you, and you see that its pupils have this like red like pit effect. Like you look into the creature's eyes and you almost feel like you're suffering a sort of vertigo. um, and it says, I will wake you back up. And it kind of nudges you slightly with its foot, almost in a like awkwardly playful kind of way, like in the sense of like someone who doesn't really know how to interact with people, like trying to give you a punch in the shoulder, and says, free of charge, I will restore your ability to walk that fall ordinarily would have taken from you.
You get a 13.
I guess I'd be like, well, I mean, I would very much appreciate it. I have people I must protect, and obviously I will keep my end of the bargain while protecting your people, or be more precise, the wildlife.
The Baize stands and bows before you and says, you have my gratitude, Paul.
It's appalling. Oh,
Yeah. Anything left from
I'm
you, Paul?
so
Or
good at jokes.
are you ready to return
Yeah.
to the waking world?
I give him a bow.
The creature smiles and says, as agreed, we shall meet in the waking world in Parasite Forest.
Mm.
The fog starts to close around you and thicken, and there's this of thunder, and you suddenly shoot awake. Uh, you're on a bench that's just been kind of lightly covered with some blankets, and you see the surgeon is looking away from you, just kind of going through a medical bag, and you can hear shouts and cannon fire in the distance.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave.
He's just gonna get up and walk out.
Yeah. The doctor turns around like, oh, he's gone.
Oh shit! All right.
I mean,
are
usually
are you
doctors in that situation are like, no, you can't get up.
uh so are you gonna try and actually sneak out past him, or are you just
I
kind of
mean,
walking?
I'm gonna try to, sneak past him. Just I'm gonna walk out pretty much though.
As you open the door, it kind of and he kind of jerks and looks around and says, "What are you doing up?"
Well, I mean, if it isn't obvious, I'm gonna go join on this little endeavor that we have found ourselves.
He looks down at you, specifically at your legs, and says, "I've never seen someone get back up after a fall like that, let alone so quickly."
Well, it's possible I have a
Does
friend.
D&D even have a mechanic to be
Actually,
paralyzed?
yes.
Yes.
When
Yeah, I wasn't exaggerating. He actually should have been crippled by that fall. The Baize just helped him out.
Oh, how does that work?
If you roll 5 or less on a saving throw, an enemy crits you, or there's another circumstance I can't remember exactly what it is, but yes, if any of those circumstances happen, I have the complete freedom to cripple you in some way.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
every crit could freaking like cripple the
Yep.
character.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
Well, that
Yep.
is kind of so. Talk about giving a D&D every opportunity to dick, or give a DM every opportunity to dick you over.
Well, conflict. Anyways, what were you saying, Paul? I apologize.
Also,
Yeah, I was just saying like, oh yeah, I gotta get into that big boy fight.
He kind of raises his eyebrow at you, and I will include your comment earlier about like having a friend in high places. Yeah, so he kind of looks you over and raises an eyebrow before shrugging, and he grabs a crossbow off the wall and pulls the friggin' thing of it back and loads up a bolt and hoists it with a grin. Let's go.
they're literally
Alright.
like it's literally like medieval mode TF2 up in this shit.
All right, Paul, roll me initiative.
Yeah. So how much like did I? How much did I heal?
You are just enough to be walking around. You have 1 health.
Okay. So if I get hit by
So like a
anything.
falling, like a freaking rope just like hits him in the back of the head and he's like,
Alright.
Because that's the rule. If you like get back up through
Yeah.
divine intervention or someone nat 20ing, is you get back up with 1 health. So
I rolled or I got an 8.
all right. Okay. So you will go before red in the turn order.
God damn it!
All right.
At
Flower
least
and
it
Fall.
wasn't a fucking one. Is there like a roll? What happens if you roll a 1 on initiative? Do you just like get guaranteed to go dead last?
Well, I mean, yeah, initiative is just like, just like the order you go in. So other than going last, there isn't really a disadvantage to low initiative. So nothing really.
Yeah.
Some players like to give it flavor, like their character doesn't realize what's going on. But anyways, sorry. Flower and Fall. So you're positioned on you're basically like iron sighting a cannon. What would you like to do?
Are these cannons able to like move left and right?
Very slightly. Like essentially just enough to like adjust slightly to hit your target, but not too much. And I will allow you to use these cannons as ranged weapons, but you won't be able to add your proficiency if you're not proficient.
Oh yeah, it makes sense to be fair. So I guess I'll just
Did-
try to shoot the cannon at it.
Okay. So add your dexterity. You don't add your proficiency, and you will take a -4 penalty because of the weather.
Did cannons on these ships, were they able
So-
to move left and right? I thought they were fixed.
It depends on the ship. Some of them could, some of them couldn't. And what'd you get? Sorry, Qua?
Rip.
No, I'm like calculating.
Oh.
It ends up being a 6. I missed wildly.
So yeah, you press the you with both arms push the lighter to fire the cannon, but the cannonball just goes into the sea, and the megalodon doesn't even seem to notice it.
What happened to that like fancy broadsiding we were doing?
Oh no, the ship does that on its own volition. I'm just letting you use the cannons independently as well.
Just using up the frickin' cannons on the broadside. I'm gonna
So
suck at firing.
yeah, you can still move for Fall, by the way.
Oh, okay. I guess we'll try again.
Go for it. Remember that I believe you have disadvantage with Fall at this point, right?
Disadvantage already? Okay, that's not gonna hit.
All right, so you try again, and once again the cannonball is wide.
If you roll a 1, the cannon explodes because you overpowered it.
Actually, some firearms will misfire on a nat 1.
It wasn't in that one, but like it wouldn't have hit either way.
Yeah.
The carpenter and the watch person prepare another broadside. but surprisingly, they all also friggin' just go into the abyss. The
And then
megalodon friggin' just diving and then re-emerging, and comes in for another ram.
and Captain Red's just like, a whole broadside and it missed.
Bloody missed.
And it missed. What the you see, now his voice changed again.
The megalodon leaps out of the water once again. And Paul, as you and friggin' totally didn't forget his name. Totally don't need to
doctor.
check my notes.
The doctor's all.
Yeah.
The medic.
Friggin' Dr. Alvablast. As you two are emerging with weapons at the ready, you're both thrown to the side as the Meg rams into the side of the ship. Once again, doesn't appear to have done any major structural damage, but you do notice the wood is starting to like splinter and crack under the
Damn, this ship must
impacts.
have one hell of a armor class.
Yeah. Well, it is a boat.
It's a ship, Matthew.
Boat.
It's a ship.
Boat.
The ship holds boats.
All right, so all right, Paul, you're up.
All right. Well,
Holly wanna cracker.
I don't die.
I'm so good at jokes.
I would rather not die, so I will heal myself.
Okay.
I think I have interesting going on there, but I guess I heal myself. I think I have 10.
Okay, go for it.
Here we go. Be like I one little minor bump will kill me. So all right.
You know, like just a piece of
So-
like rope just like hits you in the face. Seems like.
All right.
So you press a hand to your side as warm energy seeps through you, and you can feel some of your bones kind of back into place. And Dr. Alvablast just kind of watches this and just, something like that would make my job a lot easier.
Comes in handy.
I'd imagine so. All right,
Then
so
I could teach you.
so you can still move on this turn. So
Move your body.
Trying to think what would Paul be good for in a situation like this.
Load more cannons. Unless you have a ranged weapon.
I'm thinking here.
Oh, Colonel. We both thought the same thing.
I mean, he would
We're
be
on, like,
good
the
at
same
range.
wavelength over here, Matthew.
I think let's climb that mast that I fell from now. No.
You actually gonna do that?
No. I guess I'll go to the captain, see what he needs me for.
Okay. So Bryn, you can't it'll take your movement just to get to the deck. So Flower Fallen Red, to you guys' fucking bafflement, you see Paul perfectly alive and well friggin' run past you up to the top deck with Dr. Alvablast in tow.
That's not the craziest
Oh.
thing I've ever seen, honestly. I've seen someone get up from worse.
Rock on.
All right, so
One time. I've seen worse.
So Paul, you and Dr. Alvablast arrive on the top deck, and the captain looks down to you, and so you can take it.
Take it away, Maestro.
Yes.
Yes, Gorstag.
Yes. Poor Gorstag longer lives, but I guess I'm gonna give him a simple question. Be like, hey, where do you need me? Where am I needed?
He kind of looks you over and yells down to you. You have any kind of ranged weapon?
Uh, yeah.
I just imagine Paul's just like in his pockets.
Yeah, just. He jerks his head towards the side of the ship that the Meg is currently like bashing up against and says, "Well, shoot the blasted thing then."
Matthew, is that wood representing the armor of the ship, or is that the like health of the ship? Like once that breaks, the ship's destroyed.
Well, the ship actually technically hasn't taken any damage yet. That was just for. Like
Yeah.
you'll know when the ship is starting to tank a bit.
Yeah, where water starts to flood the ship,
So
and
it just has a good armor class.
Mm-hmm.
or it just has
Right.
very bad rolls, you know. But yeah.
All right. So.
All right.
All right. So that's you for this turn. So you can. So Red, you're up.
Red doesn't have any fucking proficiencies with the
All right.
canons.
So dexterity, but then after you've added that, -4.
Okay. Let me pull up that dex sheet. Excuse me. +2 to dexterity. We get +10 to dexterity. That is a nope.
Nice.
All right. So Red, you fire, and the shot goes wide.
Blast!
As you yell that, Vryn, the carpenter looks up to you and says, "That's the idea."
Haha, very funny.
All right, Flowerfall, you're up again.
Okay, let's try this again.
So we're using up 3 cannons out of the broadside. What's the ship's broadside, Matthew?
It has 6 guns in total on each side.
So we're using up half the broadside and missing.
Well, to be fair, the rest of it isn't doing much better.
Well, yeah, they lost half their broadside. That could have been hit. I feel like we're being more detrimental to this. Unless they also suffer the -4 negative.
No, like it's because of the weather. Like like outside of like the fact that they have some proficiency with these cannons, like they're not faring much better with the heavy rain and wind than you are.
Does the ship have a ram?
No, it's a fairly basic and actually kind of derelict brig.
Do you think ramming a megalodon without a ram would damage the ship significantly?
Probably.
Yeah. So far and fall, how'd you do? Sorry.
I don't know where my d20 is.
Yeah. I can roll for you if you
I
need.
had it like 5 seconds ago, and then it's like, well,
Are you
goodbye.
hang on. Are you holding it?
Oh no. If I was holding it, I would have found it by now.
So you need me to roll for you?
You see, you think that, but I've made that mistake.
Sure.
I'm holding something, and I'm like, where is it? I can't find it. As I'm just holding it. I've done it with my phone before. Holding my phone, looking for my phone. I'm like, where's my phone? And I'm just holding it in my hand. I'm just like a fucking dumbass.
Yeah. Flower.
Yeah.
Friend. So first, fall fires, and the Meg submerges to dodge the cannonball. But as it reemerges, Flower, you fire and manage to clock the thing straight in the face. I'm gonna need you to roll me 4d10.
Oh. Oh then.
For dent.
See, I have all my other ones. I just don't know where my d20 went.
Yeah, I probably just misplaced it.
Did it fall in your seat?
That's what I was looking at.
So you can just look between turns.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
I lost my D1. Oh, there's my D100.
4d10, and you can add your dexterity mod.
Hey, Matthew, you know it'd be the most pointless
Hmm.
10d10. Just roll a D100.
Well, to be fair, a 10d10 at least guarantees you
That'd
10
be
damage.
23 damage.
Nice. So you managed to clock that thing for 23 damage, doing a pretty solid hit. Let me do some math on that. Do some math up in this exciting stream.
Hey, at least it's not Pathfinder where it's literally all math.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Cries in
Cries in math.
yeah,
I
cries
can't
in
believe you
math.
have an interest in Pathfinder because you hate math.
Well, I
I do
like
hate math.
I like games more than I hate most things. So, anyways,
That's
so
really me. Big
yeah,
mood.
yeah, big mood, mood. Speaking of big moods, the crew's gonna unleash their broadside now.
Of 3.
Yeah, you're close. 6. The shot goes, and that's not counting the -4 penalty.
Well, no, we already fired 3 cannons.
Well, oh, I thought you meant like the dice roll. But yeah, so the cannon, but the shots go wide. Do
They need explosive shells. Then at least if they miss, it'll explode and possibly still hurt it.
They're probably more expensive though.
You got freaking Paul from your position on the top deck. From the top of the mast, you hear, and you see a brief flash, and a bullet whizzes into the water, but it seems to miss the creature, but just barely.
Who fired that shot?
Remember the wood elf lookout was on in the crow's nest when Paul went to ask him what he saw that had him so spooked.
You tried to snipe it. Snipe
yeah.
it's a good job, mate.
Right. Creature's gonna come up for another ram.
You should have made him a dark elf, because then he would have been from down under dark.
It's terrible.
Come on, that was a good one.
Good puns are still terrible.
Yeah, they're terrible. Like they're unethical. Is the
They're
problem?
terrible on principle.
All right. Sorry, I had to do a bunch of number crunching.
Math.
Yeah, that's D&D for you. So the creature submerges, and there's like a brief pause as the crew's just like kind of confused, and you're still kind of caught in the whirlpool. And Red next to you.
Breach.
Red next to you, the carpenter Everett turns to you and says, "You think we killed it?"
Nah, not this soon. There's a couple of things it could be doing. It could be running, or it could be looking to breach.
As you say that, you hear this horrible sound of shattering wood and metal, and you guys see this blur of blue and gray sandpaper-like skin tear past the ship, ripping the broadside off of the vessel. All of you just barely stepping back as the cannons tumble into the sea.
Helping.
I don't know if I've ever seen a ship survive this kind of damage.
Quite a pickle.
Everett, Flowerfall, you have to pull back Everett as he falls to his knees. My babies!
I know.
Yeah, so
like
Paul,
this ship would just be fucked.
Yeah, so for picturing at home, this brig now has just this gaping hole where the broadside cannons used to be.
Is its mouth really that big compared to the side of a brig?
I mean,
I think megalodons were like.
I know they're like 60 feet long in length.
Yeah,
so I don't
and
know
that's
what
fucking
their
huge.
mouth width is.
So Paul, you're up now.
all right. Well, Can I fix the situation?
You're not gonna be able to fix the ship if that's what you mean. But
Aaron wouldn't be able to fix this goddamn ship.
but you can fire at it if you like, or find something else to do.
So, according to this, they had jaws spanning 2 meters, 6.6 feet across. So, a good chunk of the ship just gave out from that chunk being taken out of it.
It was a nasty, nasty bite.
Yeah,
And he did say it was a very dilapidated ship, so like the bite just takes a chunk and then just broke the rest of it.
Yeah, for context, by the way, while Paul's deciding what to do, that was a crit. Was the reason it was able to pull that fucking trick of nature off.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's just one shot our ship, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna sink now. I don't think.
Well, to be fair, the hole isn't below the waterline.
It just took the whole broadside off.
No, like just specifically where the guns were.
Took out the guns, y'all can't shoot them anymore.
Destroyed all our guns.
Okay.
Well, half of the guns, I guess. Because shouldn't there be some on the other side?
Yeah, there is, but at least at the current moment, it's not on that side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to turn the ship.
Which, you guys are still trapped in a maelstrom, so it's going to be a bit tricky.
Basically, everybody who has ranged weapons are going to need to start using them.
Yeah.
And guess who doesn't have a ranged weapon? This guy.
Yeah. Alright. There's not a lot of.
I mean, I can get some range if I transform, I believe. Doesn't he get some like longer reach when he transforms?
I think you get longer reach, but I don't know if that'd be enough to
reach into the water.
Well,
not really reach as much as like shoot bits at it. I don't need to check exactly what he can do real quick.
No, your unarmed attack gain an additional 5. So basically, you can essentially act as a spear. But at the moment, you don't have any like outright ranged capabilities beyond that.
Yeah.
He gets some later, doesn't he? Though.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
So what do you want to do, Paul?
I was thinking of two different ridiculous things, but I'm not going to do that.
Hey, we welcome ridiculous if you want to do something.
Well, I mean, one of the ridiculous. Well, one of them won't work. I think I'm out of bait. I was thinking, fish it. Going fishing for the Bengal time.
Why would you even use this bait?
I mean,
the swabby.
I can use red. But and then I was just thinking, I had this 10 bucket.
Have resistance to piercing.
Well, I think that's only when he's in his special form.
Yeah.
And then I have a 10 bucket, but I guess I'll shoot it with my crossbow. I was trying not to.
All right, go for it. Remember, you can specify before you attack if you are intending for it to be lethal or not.
Oh yeah, I mean obviously I'm gonna try not to kill
like
it.
If that's what you're worried about.
No, that's not gonna hit.
All right, so you fire as it kind of dives back in, taking a good chunk of wood with it, but the bolt just kind of into the sea.
Yeah.
Red, you're up. So you just witnessed that fucking devastation.
Red's just like, well, I officially cannot help with the situation. Kind of wish I bought that pistol now.
So you're just gonna hold for now?
Well, we're gonna get out of here so that it can't just attack us directly.
Fair enough. All right, so you head up to the top deck, where you can see Paul having just fired his crossbow over the side of the boat.
Also, with it being unarmed strikes, that means it's guaranteed 1d6 damage, because unarmed strikes you don't roll to hit, right?
No,
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 you
you do still
roll.
roll to hit.
Yeah,
It's that
just if you.
if you're not like if you don't like have proficiency or like a special ability, then you do a guaranteed point of damage, but you still have to roll to hit them at all.
Yeah. You
That
can
don't
do
make no
more.
goddamn sense. So you do the damage, but you still have to roll to
No,
hit?
when you roll to hit, when you roll, you can hit and you do more damage. But if you don't hit, you'll still get guaranteed one.
No, 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 no. Like,
Oh.
like so basically, like if Paul goes to punch someone, he has to roll as if it's a regular attack, and then that would just do a guaranteed one. Like he wouldn't have to roll; it would just always do 1 damage, or if he crits, 2 damage. But you, because of a special ability, actually get damage rolls as if you were using a weapon because
That is
you're.
ungodly shit.
Well, this isn't a criticize D&D podcast, so do you want to do anything once you get to the spell check?
Well, there's nothing I can do, so.
All right, so you hold. Flower and Fall, you're up.
Okay. Luckily, Flower is gun baby. Or not Flower, Fall is gun baby.
Gun
Right.
baby.
Want to go for that? Want to go
Gun
for that?
baby.
Go for that Sharky?
Yeah, I'll shoot him. I'll shoot him with my big crossbow.
Yeah,
I'll poke him.
it's a gun sword. Remember, it just
I'll
has.
shoot him with my big crossbow.
Yeah, it just uses the crossbow stats. Remember, I think everyone has to get kind of reacclimated with their characters.
No, I know it's a gun sword. It's just it's considered a heavy crossbow, so
Yeah. All right,
just
so
make
go
it
for
a
it.
joke.
Okay, well, so go for it.
Why
Remember
can't we
that.
just write our own shit in there? Why do we have to write, like, crossbow, but it's not
Because
really...
Orc Pub, if you try to make new ones, sometimes it won't actually put the information in. So, like for some of them, it was just easier to make like stand-ins essentially, since they have functionally the same stats anyway.
Job's done.
All right,
Okay, so
how'd you
do
do?
I add the attack bonus to the initial roll, like the
Yeah, you
hit
add it to the
roll?
you add it to the
Yeah.
initial roll, but you just don't add it to the damage.
Okay, that always confuses me. So
Yeah, I've been working on studying the rules a bit more.
So we do give a little bit of damage, but we become really tanky. Because we can't use our sword, which does more damage.
That's 19.
All right, that's gonna hit. Roll for that damage.
Yes. A 1d10. Wow.
Wowza.
Okay, I need to make sure it's not the d12.
The 12.
The d12.
Is this also, is this going to be a level up event?
I mean,
Well, I'll tell you in the end if you level up. But for the most part, I'm planning for you to level up between chapters because it makes it easier for me to scale the chapters to your levels.
3 whole damage.
besides if you
Well,
don't
it's
level
something. All right.
We'll whittle it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Death by 1,000 cuts. It will suffer.
yeah, so
But then we'll
Fall.
get dragged into the maelstrom.
So Fall, you fire shot, and to a lot of you guys' surprise, you see a little of blood and hear the creature.
Okay, I'm calling bullshit.
I'm just trying to be cinematic, okay? Flower, you're up.
Okay,
No,
Flower
this
has
one will
a
be sharks making noise.
Flower has a weaker gun sword or gun axe,
Yeah, it's a gun axe for Flower.
but she can still try. Which is also a 19. Nice.
Yeah, but even with the disadvantage taken into account.
Yeah, that's on
Oh
like
wait,
only
no, I
one
forgot
roll.
about that. Oh.
Yeah, remember the second twin who goes always has disadvantage until you get
yeah.
nullifies that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's that was an even higher roll, so yes, it's 19.
All right, yeah, go for it then.
So sharks do not make noise.
Yeah. Well, this one does.
Fuck you.
This one talks like a human. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm the DM. I could say it like speaks French.
This is also 3 damage.
All right.
Yes.
So another.
The
And
DM's gone mad.
Identical roll for identical characters.
Yes. Your ship tastes wee good.
With the ship's cannons offline, the crew is just gonna try and lend everything they can to killing the damn thing.
Shoot
So
the bastard.
so so Everett is going to hoist a double barrel and see if he can't blast the thing. Blast him to pieces.
Shoot the
No.
bastard. What is that from? What am I quoting?
I actually have no idea. Unfortunately, his shot goes wide. The unnamed individual pulls out a very wide-barreled pistol of some kind.
It's like
But
that
as
pistol with multiple barrels.
well, it's basically just like one very big one. But as they pull the trigger, Flower and Fall, you just see this bright flash, and whenever your kind of eyesight adjusts, you see them like having dropped the pistol, like shaking their hand rapidly, and you see some smoke.
Did it misfire?
Yes, it did.
God
Oof,
damn,
ouch.
this crew is something.
Hmm.
And Paul, you and Red from the Crow's Nest hear another shot, but this one goes wide again.
Maybe we should get a powder keg, get it to bite it, and then we can do the whole smile, you son of a, and blow his face off. You guys know what that is, right?
Yeah, of
I get
course.
what you're talking about.
Famous.
Like, we can't even shoot its gigantic body and shoot a tiny keg in its mouth.
Yeah, it's like Jaws. Smile, you son of a.
So the shark submerges again, and there's another brief, kind of hesitant pause, considering that last time it did this, it took a chunk of the ship out. And
Bridge!
and sure enough, Red, as you yell that from the port side, you feel a bunch of water splash against you, even more so than the rest of the rain, and the ship is eclipsed as this colossal behemoth of a shark leaps on board, crashing onto the top deck. Flowerfall, you, the engineer and the watch person, splinters and dust rain down on you as you see cracks start to run down the ceiling of the gun deck. And the shark starts to flail wildly, its teeth gnashing violently as it tries to
Does it
bite
do
anything in
piercing
reach.
damage?
Well, you'll have to get bit and find out.
Yeah, it hasn't doesn't done any damage to us yet.
All right, so nobody is currently in reach of it, so it's not going to be able to attack yet, but it is going to bite. With its flailing, it's probably
Doesn't
going to
it need to
bite anyone who gets
breathe?
close. And
This is-
normally, yes, but it's literally like torrenting right now. Not like the internet term, obviously. So
Yes.
like,
No,
for
that's not how it works.
Well, they're flailing.
so Paul, you're up.
All right.
It needs to be completely submerged.
Well, sharks also don't get this big these days. So, like, don't worry about it.
You're taking a lot of liberties with this, man.
All right. I have a plan.
Go for it.
I'm gonna get
Hopefully it does not involve being eaten by a giant shark.
no guarantees.
Is this a creature that can eat you whole, Matthew?
Probably.
Well, because of the way D&D works, it would only be able to do that if it did like your health twice over.
I thought you said there were certain things that had a mechanic that let them eat.
Yeah, there are
there
some,
are
but
abilities
like,
that just
Okay,
straight up
but
eat
this
you.
doesn't have that mechanic.
yeah, most likely.
Most likely, you designed it.
Well, I mean, I can't just be like, oh, it has all of these abilities.
Fuck you.
Do it
All right,
together.
so Paul, what's your plan?
All right, a very elaborate plan of I get my bucket,
All right.
get water in that bucket.
Okay. It's
And-
already presumably been filling up, so I'll allow
Oh
that.
yeah, water, rainwater. And I splashed on him.
What's your objective here?
I mean, I don't want it to die. I want to keep it safe.
Roll animal handling.
Alright. I'm down for that.
Tired.
Ooh, that's a 15.
So Paul, you to the rest of the crew, you can hear vaguely over the rain, thunder, the crew screaming. Red, you watch as Paul just approaches this thing with a bucket of water as this thing is flailing and gnashing, and Paul just splashes water into its gills, and the creature freezes. And Paul, it turns to look at you, and its eyes are doing that, that horrifying thing that sharks do, where their pupils like fucking like go entirely back. And to your surprise, it actually calms somewhat. It's still wriggling and like, and as you look at it, Paul, you actually
Oh my
realize,
fucking god.
as you watch it like wriggle violently, this creature isn't hungry, it's scared.
Oh. Interesting.
Do they keep cannons on the top deck of this ship?
They do not.
What
It's
kind
running-
of pirates are they?
Yeah, they literally, like, as far as as far as you figured out from your contact, got a bottom of the barrel ship, and you assumed a bottom of the barrel crew until you found out they were actually fairly top notch. So, like, they obviously weren't willing to splurge on cannons they presumed you probably wouldn't need.
Hmm.
But I thought the one guy built the cannons for the ship.
Well, yeah, but he mentioned that, like, even that, like, came at a decent expense.
Yeah.
So, Paul, what do you want to do?
I I guess I'm gonna try to get is reckless, very reckless here. I'm gonna try to convince everyone that we should push him off the ship.
Okay, go for it.
Uh-huh.
Persuasion check.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could still just say it, but yes, yeah, it will involve a persuasion check for the NPCs. But
Do
Flower,
the
Fall,
other
and Red,
characters who
yeah,
it's
for
trouble
Flower, Fall, and
players
Red,
need
it's
to
just your
roll
judgment.
against it?
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, it's really. I mean, if you want to roll against it, it's more or less just up to you, based
Yeah.
on what I said.
But yeah, for the, like, unless he's explicitly lying to you.
That would be deception.
Also, Flower and Fall, for the sake of keeping you involved, I'll say that you and the other two have come up from the gun deck since you saw all that action going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Just,
Well, I rolled a 10. But I'm more or less just like, so. Hello, boy. So it seems to me that this creature, though very scary, is actually just scared of us.
The
That's a
Swabby.
funny way of showing it.
The Swabby waves a hand and says, I'm going to be real with you. If that thing's more scared of me than I am of him, then I'm surprised that thing's not pissing all over the top deck right now.
That's funny as shit.
so what do we do about it?
I'm guessing it'd be impossible to move a gun from the gun deck up to the top deck and line it up at point blank, so you can't possibly miss.
Why?
Well, even then, because of the way the game works, that would guarantee a hit
God
anyway.
fucking damn it! This stupid fucking game.
Either way, I'd probably
I'm
stop
just making a list of things I'm gonna house rule.
You should change house rules, but I would probably stop you, to be honest. Yeah. Well, I mean, for starters, we could get him off the ship.
True.
Uh, What's up?
How do you plan on doing that?
Oh. Thought someone called me. Sorry. The rest of the crew just kind of looks at you expectantly, Paul. They don't seem opposed, but they don't really seem convinced. Sure.
Not sure how we're gonna do this though.
It would take a lot of people pushing to get it off.
Oh yeah, the problem is it's flailing. It's still sort of flailing around.
It's just kind of twitching now. Paul seems to have calmed it somewhat, but it's still obviously like the weather and circumstances are kind of
Also,
freaking it
would
out.
rainwater even be salt water?
I don't
Or
know.
whatever water we're in?
I don't know. It's free. It's like unnatural weather, anyways. So.
Yeah.
Mm.
Eventually, the captain steps forward and kind of cracks his knuckles a bit and says, "All right, we'll give it a try. You keep it calm. We'll push."
All right. Sounds like a plan. More than I had.
It sounds like insanity.
I mean, what's your idea?
My idea would be to go down to the powder room, get the biggest keg, shove it down its throat, lit.
Interesting idea.
And
no.
Paul, as you contemplate what Red just said, you hear that kind of sword unsheathy sound of when the Baize speaks, kind of run through your mind, and you're reminded of the conversation you had with it initially.
As I was saying, I was like, interesting, interesting idea, but no. What are you doing, boy?
Being a doggo.
All right, so I guess who wants to help push this thing while Paul keeps it under control? All
Red
right.
ain't going anywhere near that fucking thing, unless it is to kick a powder keg that's lit down its throat.
The captain steps forward, kind of doing that like shoulder arm
The
stretch.
unofficial captain, technically, but yes, captain.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's acting as captain.
The acting captain.
Yeah. And the rest of the crew seems a little hesitant, but he just kind of turns and glares at them, and they kind of sheepishly start getting into position. Paul, make me another animal handling check, but you'll have advantage on this one because you've already kind of like shown it you're not a threat.
Calm down a little bit and all that. Alright, let's do the.
Like this is just essentially to see if you can keep it relaxed while the crew is like getting hands all over it.
Yeah, it's like double that once. We're all dead. Best idea ever.
20 on a freaking advantage roll must be like the most funniest shit ever.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna calm down based off the first roll, but you know what?
Was it a 20?
No, it was an 18 by a +5, so it'll be 23. Yeah.
All right.
23.
What was your second roll? Just see if you can get an at 20.
No, yeah, it was just a 9. So,
Okay.
So the other one.
So as Red, you watch as the crew, Flower and Fall included, get into position, and Paul, you approach it, and you kind of gently stroke its side, and its skin is like bumpy sandpaper under your palm as you kind of stroke it and just.
I cannot believe this all started with just pouring water on it.
D&D.
Welcome to D&D, folks, where shit does not make sense.
Its eyes roll back into regular position, and Paul, you can just see your reflection silhouetted in this pitch black eye.
The blackness of its soul.
And as the crew all start, and the first mate calls out, "Push!" and they all start shoving, and you can just hear the deck like caving slightly as its weight is kind of rolled against the deck, trying to like get it into position to shove it off the side, and it like starts to kind of twitch a little bit, but you're just like. And this pattern keeps up with the first mate calling push, and you just kind of keep it calm as they get into position before they're finally in position where one last push.
Just for context, this thing weighs over 60 tons.
And Paul, you can have one last word with it before the crew pushes it off the side.
I guess be free, my
Free Willy.
um let's see. I mean, I guess just I wish it well and safe travels and such. Papa, what do you want?
As you say all this to the little quote unquote beast, you don't necessarily see recognition of what you're saying in its eyes, but it does seem soothed and relaxed. And as the crew gives one final heave, and it tumbles into the sea, the fin starts to essentially push against the maelstrom to kind of essentially force its way out. Uh, and as the ship gives a friggin' mighty yawn and creak, the first mate, oh, I completely forgot, and sprints back to the wheel. Everyone on the sails, we need to get out of here before this thing pulls us to the bottom of the ocean.
That would be preferable.
Let's go.
And I'm just gonna act like I did not see what just happened. Like I'm just not ready to process what has happened.
The Swabby just kind of pats you on the shoulder before running to help pull some rope. All right, Flower, Fallen Red, and Paul, I assume you guys are going to help try to get the ship in line to get out of here.
Yes.
Yeah, gotta make sure we don't die.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make sure we get out of here before it decides it is hungry and comes back.
All right, so the first mate fights against the wheel as the crew helps desperately to keep the sails from flying off into the abyss, and the ship cycles around in the maelstrom two more times, and all of you are starting to get a horrible sinking pit in your stomach that you're not going to be able to get this thing out. But the first mate whistles, and the engineer and watch person run over and basically all help him just like violently push the wheel in the opposite direction that it's trying to go. And as the ship circles around for another friggin' go around that would probably send it to the bottom, you guys start to ride the wave out, and finally you guys breach on the outside of the maelstrom, and the ship, already being essentially like built up to just go as fast as possible to get out of there, just starts like speeding away from the maelstrom, as the ship finally settles into a calm, as relative as it can be in this weather.
Ooh.
uh, for him, the Swabby approaches you, Paul, with one hand on his head and the other just gesturing wildly. That was awesome.
Hopefully this ship will be able to make it. I've never seen an entire chunk that big taken out of a ship.
Sasha calls from the wheel. We're gonna stop at a nearby island and drop you guys off. See if we can't get this thing repaired.
Mm.
We're probably gonna have to cut down the entire island for the wood.
Well, it's a start. Everyone keep a weather eye. We should be getting close.
Okay.
All right.
Narrows eyes into
Okay.
the distance.
All right. So if you guys want to help look for the island, make a perception check. Similar to ranged attacks, you will have a -4 penalty in this weather.
Well, I didn't see shit.
Guess perception, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, never mind. I was about to say
-16.
-4. So
Yeah.
9.
You still add your regular modifier just
Yeah.
after you've added that. Then.
Oh wait, basically I have a +5, so basically just ends up being a +1.
Okay.
So yeah, so 9.
Okay. Flower and Fall.
16. You know.
Okay.
Including
Red.
all the
Yeah.
stuff.
Red and Paul, you guys like watch opposite sides, and just the rain is like so heavy, and there's so many like tidal waves and maelstroms in the distance that you just can't make anything out. Flower and Fall, though, from the bow of the ship, you actually do see not too far ahead a small little rocky jut out point coming out of the sea.
There it is.
The crew all starts to kind of run that way to look, and Sasha just Sasha has the carpenter take the wheel so that he can see what's going on. And as Sasha kind of encompasses your space, Flower and Fall, not like he's intruding on you, big dude. He just stares, and you look up at him, and his expression is just one of total shock, and says, "That's not the island."
What?
He kind of reaches into his pocket, but then just kind of squints up against the rain before he kind of uses his hat as a makeshift umbrella so that he can pull out a map and show you guys. And he points to a small little island between the two land masses that encompass Levant, and points to that small island and says, "That's where we're trying to go." And he points to the small rocky kind of jutting out point, and says, "That's where it's supposed to be."
Oh.
Interesting.
As
That
the
sounds like a problem.
yeah, as the implications set in, the whole crew just kind of goes quiet. The unnamed person in the plague doctor uniform, "Those poor people. I hope they made it out okay." Dr. Alvablast rubs the back of his neck and says, "Yeah, if what
Wait,
you
so
guys."
what happened?
The implication being that the island flooded to the point where all that's left is the tip of one of its mountains.
Oh, wow.
Dr. Alvablast rubs the back of his neck and says, "If what you guys said is true, this weather's been going nonstop for weeks."
Yeah.
Sasha narrows his eyes and calls out to the crew as he starts heading back to the wheel. "We'll get a closer look. Look for survivors."
Yeah.
You know,
I found.
this would theoretically also cause water to rise just all over the world, unless this is like a giant dam.
Oh yeah.
Very well, maybe.
Yeah.
So as he heads back and gets situated, you guys close in on this kind of rocky gap, but there's not much to it. It's just like the tip of what used to be a mountain, now completely like almost entirely submerged. Flower and Fall, however, you guys, with your good perception check from earlier, spot a small cave that's just barely staying out of the water line towards the top of the mountain.
Uh, just yell to the captain. There's a cave over there.
He waves Fall over so that he can kind of have a communication line between the two of you. It says, "All right, lead me to it."
Right.
So you direct him as the ship kind of circles around and drops anchor nearby. And now that you guys are closer, like right up on it, Red and Paul, you can see it now too. It's the tip of a mountain where there's this small cave that's just barely, like water's already kind of lapping at the entrance, but it's just enough to where you could walk in and kind of get out of harm's way.
Well, let's journey inside.
uh, the crew all kind of look at each other nervously, and Mary just kind of pipes up, "Yeah, I'm not really a cave wandering kind of guy."
It's okay. This is our job.
And caves aren't all that bad, really. Sometimes just good shit in there.
Sasha approaches and puts a hand on Mary's shoulder and nods to the three of you and says, Very well. Journey inside and look for survivors. We'll get the ship and your friends to shore and meet you there.
Just kind of nod at him.
Oh, are they gonna fly
Mhm.
over? Are they flying over?
Now, basically, they're
Mhm.
gonna like drop you guys off here since you guys seem good with exploring this, and then they're gonna sail to the nearest dock to get repairs and get situated, and then you guys can
Yeah.
regroup with them later.
Being left alone.
Okay.
Time for a dungeon.
Oh fuck. Okay.
All
Time
right,
for a dungeon.
Paul, you good with that?
I mean, yeah, I'm with it. We gotta,
Okay.
gotta figure out how to save everything.
Mhm. Yeah, fair enough. It's a big job.
Alright, I'm probably
So-
gonna lay down real quick. So, do you think if I need to roll, you can do the roll, Matthew?
Sure. So
I'm just
the
getting
crew
tired of sitting up.
puts down a boarding plank so that you guys can very carefully make your way to the cave mouth.
Do we need to roll like athletics?
No, the only one that would normally have to is Flower and Fall, but they already did, so I'm not going to make them do it again. So you guys gingerly step off of the ship and onto the cave mouth. All of you just having to gently remind yourself, don't look down, don't look down, don't look down.
Yeah.
Just megalodon infested waters.
Yeah. And the crew recedes the boarding plank, and and Mary kind of leans over the side as they start getting the ship ready to move again and call back in the anchor and says, "You guys don't die in there, all right?"
We won't.
Great advice, kid.
Hey, I'm trying to help you out. And
I know, I'm sure you're helping in your own way.
he nods to you, Flower and Fall, before going to help get the sails going. And as the ship pulls away, you guys all turn to look at this cave mouth where you all silently are thankful that the inside looks relatively dry, but beyond that, it's just a scary cave that you've never been in before.
Yeah.
Ah, good. An opportunity to get out of this fucking rain.
Maybe we can finally dry off.
Here's to hoping.
Yeah.
And with that, you guys step or fly into the cave.
La cave.
You guys good to continue, or do you want to make this a stopping point?
Up to you.
Hmm.
I can totally keep going.
Me too.
What?
It's up to y'all.
No.
You can stop here.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright.
Wait, coughing. Sorry, bad time to drink water.
Alright, does that event give us a level up, or do we need to finish
Yeah.
the dungeon
No, like I
first?
said, you're going to level up between chapters because the chapter's already been scaled to your current level.
Okay.
Yeah. Event leveling and all that.
Yeah, and
Did we
plus it
level
makes,
up after the last chapter?
yeah, you got from level 1 to level 2.
Yeah.
Oh.
Two boys.
Yeah, and plus this means I can make your level ups a bit more like plot relevant and story significant than just, oh, in the middle of wandering a forest you now have the ability to do this. So
You
thank you all
collected
so
15 bear asses, so now you level up.
yeah. So as you guys step into the mouth of this cave, thanks all of you so much for watching. Thank all of you for playing. And when we pick up next week, you guys will start on your first new dungeon, the Mountain of Bed Air.
Oh.
At least it wasn't
Mm.
something like the Mountain of Doom.
Yeah.
If it wasn't the
So-
Mountain of Doom, I would just like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah, just wait, ship, come back.
Oh
Ah,
no.
fuck off, mate.
All right, so we will see all of you next week. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye. Did you like that? It's a reference to a successful YouTuber.